The Thunder have taken the NBA by storm. For the first time, the NBA champion resides in Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City Thunder are the champions of the NBA, the youngest team to win a ring in 48 years.
They built this team from scratch. They were down to nothing. They drafted these guys. They developed these guys. Nobody forced their way here via trade.
It finally happened. The Oklahoma City Thunder are NBA champions for the first time since they were known as the Seattle Supersonics. In an epic 7-game final series, the young Thunder team capped off a 68-win regular season and the best point differential ever recorded. Confetti rained down as the second youngest championship team in NBA history hoisted the Larry O'Brien.
Congratulations, you're the 2025 NBA champions.
Yet success comes at a cost. In this case, quite literally a very expensive one. The very kids who just shocked the world with a championship are demanding massive contracts. We know that Oklahoma City has a treasure trove of young talent and a mountain of future draft picks, but keeping this group together will severely test the team's financial flexibility. In fact, it's already begun. In their moment of triumph, have the Thunder unknowingly cooked themselves in an attempt to keep everyone together? Realistically, the Thunder look like they are in a great spot. They are NBA champions with possibly a decade of contention ahead. On paper, the Thunder should be a powerhouse for years, but paper doesn't account for the salary cap. The NBA's salary cap and luxury tax system mean that as players develop into stars, their price tags skyrocket. A young, rebuilding team on cheap rookie contracts can quickly turn into an expensive contender once those players demand market value. OKC's front office and GM Sam Presti knew this day was coming, the day they'd have to pay up to keep their hard-earned core intact. That day is now. The Thunder have opened their checkbook in a massive way for their newfound champions, handing out huge contracts for their stars. In doing so, they may have sacrificed the cap flexibility that helped them build this roster in the first place. The question is, can they find a way around it?
Means extensions are coming. So, Bobby, what are they trying to get done here in Oklahoma City?
Well, you look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's Supermax extension eligible, 4 years. Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren are both extension eligible. Everybody's figuring out, can you keep all three guys? And yes, you can.
First, there's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who just had one of the greatest individual seasons in NBA history.
He's fouled. Gilgeous-Alexander plays straight up here. Doesn't have to foul. Gilgeous-Alexander steps back.
After winning the 2025 MVP and taking home Finals MVP, in the same season he won a scoring title and a championship.
SGA essentially said, "Today's price is not yesterday's price."
After a season like that, of course Shai was going to get paid. And paid he was. Oklahoma City rewarded its franchise player with a record-breaking extension. 4 years, $285 million. That is the richest annual salary in NBA history. Roughly $70 million per year committed to Shai through 2031.
$285 million Supermax contract extension with the championship. This is now the richest annual salary for a player.
It was a no-brainer for OKC. You don't pinch pennies with a 25-year-old MVP in his prime. SGA has earned every dollar by transforming the Thunder from a rebuilding afterthought into a champion. But such a colossal contract has ripple effects. Shai's extension alone will consume an enormous chunk of the Thunder's future salary cap in each of the next several years. We're talking about one player possibly eating up 35 to 40% of the cap by himself. For a small market team like Oklahoma City, that is a huge commitment. It drastically limits flexibility. Once SGA's raise kicks in, the Thunder won't have any cap space to sign other big free agents outright. And any roster moves will require careful navigation of the luxury tax and the NBA's new punitive second apron rules for big spending teams. It's hard to fault them. Players like SGA are people you fork out these massive numbers to, but his mega deal is just the first of several checks the Thunder have written. The next bill came due for Chet Holmgren, a 5-year rookie max extension worth up to $250 million.
ESPN reporting that Chet Holmgren and the OKC Thunder have agreed to a contract extension.
And they say it could reach up to $250 million.
After missing his first year to injury and even dealing with a fractured pelvis early this past season, Chet bounced back in a big way. By playoff time, he was a force anchoring OKC's defense. swatting shots and stretching the floor with his shooting. In fact, Holmgren led all players in plus-minus during the Thunder's title run, even doing this in Game 7.
The staff has done a great job. Now, can they continue winning? And more importantly, more money in the small markets.
Alexander, what I love and watch this match, I mean, you know this, Channing, it will be unbelievable if he...
The deal he signed will keep Chet in OKC through around 2030, with an average salary of about $50 million per year. He's now being paid like one of the league's elite big men, because the Thunder believe he will be one, if he isn't already.
Holmgren's contract is a little scarier.
This is a kid with a prolific injury history, and it would be surprising if that changes. Not saying he doesn't deserve it, but it tightens the screws on OKC's financial situation even more. Add Chet's $50 million to Shai's $70 million per year, and suddenly just 2 players will account for over $120 million annually. For context, this past season's entire salary cap was around $136 million. And while the cap will rise, 2 contracts alone will push OKC near or over the luxury tax line in coming years. And guess what? The spending spree isn't over yet. The Thunder just dropped the house on Jalen Williams. In just his second year, J-Dub blossomed into an all-NBA caliber player.
7th in the league in steals. Wiggins, the lob. Oh my goodness! Here comes Williams. The usage rate goes up when Jokic is on the bench. Spin. Williams gets him. Look at Jalen Williams.
And in the finals, he proved his worth on the biggest stage. Now, at 24 years old and fresh off a championship, Jalen Williams is eligible for his first big contract extension. And when I say big contract extension, I mean absolutely freaking massive contract extension.
Jalen Williams and the Thunder have agreed to a 5-year rookie max extension, which can reach a maximum value of $287 million.
J-Dub has just agreed to a 5-year, $287 million deal to remain in Oklahoma for the prime of his career.
Already before this deal went through, OKC were exceeding $180 million in cap allocations, which is over the salary cap and already seeping into the luxury tax.
Add another 40 mil or whatever it is in there, and there is zero wiggle room for the front office. The Thunder have locked up their core, sure, but now they have to make a lot of roster changes in order to get out of that luxury tax.
We all assume that despite the numbers going up and up, that Oklahoma City will not be able to afford their top 3 players. We generally believe now that you can only afford 1 player on a big boy max and maybe a second guy, but certainly not a third guy.
All these massive commitments raise a pivotal question. Did the Thunder just spend their way into a corner? By throwing huge contracts at their core trio, and potentially more guys soon, has Oklahoma City essentially cooked their chances of maintaining a deep, flexible team? It's a classic championship conundrum. Success means everyone wants to get paid, but if you pay everyone, you risk your future flexibility to stay on top.
The cap in 26-27, which is the year that I'm talking about, that is projected to be $165 million, and you will have 3 players making 120 of that 165.
Remember a decade ago, OKC had another rising big 3 that many expected to dominate for years. That team never won a ring, partly because the Thunder's ownership balked at paying a hefty luxury tax bill to keep them together. This time around, Thunder management seems determined not to repeat that mistake. They are opening the wallet to keep the new core united. On the other hand, the consequences are very real. By committing to all these contracts, Oklahoma City's front office is taking a gamble. The Thunder are largely stuck with what they have now. It's championship or bust with this group. They've traded flexibility for stability, and expensive stability. Championship teams need quality role players. In this year's run, OKC had excellent contributions from guys on smaller contracts and rookie deals. But as those guys either improve and demand more money or age out, will the Thunder be able to replace them? The margin for error shrinks once you're paying a few players megabucks. 1 or 2 injuries or one of the stars regressing, and suddenly a roster that looked unbeatable could thin out fast. It's an incredible young big 3, but although the face of the franchise, these 3 were not the sole reason behind the championship run. The depth of OKC was what allowed them to raise the Larry O'Brien at the end of the season. And now some of that depth is going to have to be sacrificed in the coming years. Players like Hardenstein, who is making almost $30 million next season, and key components in Alex Caruso and Lou Dort, who will both be locked in for nearly $20 million next year too. In fact, Caruso will be making roughly $20 million for the next 4 years. As someone who is already 31 and possibly starting to decline, that could be a problem down the line. Luckily for the Thunder, they have stockpiled a war chest of draft picks. So Oklahoma City's pipeline of young talent is still flowing. It's a blessing for a franchise's sustainability, but it also means you simply can't pay everyone big money once their time comes. Even with a rising salary cap, there's a limit to how many sizable contracts one team can carry under the NBA rules without facing severe penalties. In short, the flexibility to add a new impact free agent or even keep role-playing veterans will be minimal. The Thunder might be effectively frozen with the roster they have, aside from minor moves. So have the Oklahoma City Thunder just cooked themselves?